we're finding slopes of secant lines here, which are just lines connecting 2 points on the curve. And so we use our basic slope formula. So we're using m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And so these y2 and y1, we're just plugging in the x1 and x2. So we'll put little subscripts here. We'll call this x1, x2, x1, x2, and x1, x2 for each of those. So y2 is simply plugging x2 in there. So negative 1 squared, and then minus negative 3 squared over negative 1 minus negative 3. That's 1 minus 9 over 2, which is negative 8 over 2, or negative 4. And we'll do the same thing here. So negative 1 squared minus negative 2 squared over negative 1 minus negative 2. So that's 1 minus 4 divided by 1. So negative 3. And then for part 3, we've got negative 1 squared minus negative 1.1 squared over negative 1 minus negative 1.1. So that's 1 minus 1.21 over 0.1. So that's a negative 0.21 over 0.1, which is negative 2.1. All right, now we're going to, for part B, estimate the slope of the tangent line at negative 1. So notice we've always had negative 1 as a point, and then we've been taking other points closer and closer to negative 1. And so we want to know, what are these numbers approaching? And it looks like they're getting closer to negative 2. And so we're going to estimate our slope to be negative 2, and then we're going to find the equation of that line. And so we've got our slope of 2. We've got our point, negative 1, and then plugging that into the function gives us 1. And so we use point slope form of a line. Y minus the y coordinate equals the slope times x minus the x coordinate. And so we'll multiply that to negative 2 in, so negative 2x, and that's a plus 1 times the negative 2, which is minus 2, and then we'll add the 1 over. So y equals negative 2x minus 1. And that's going to be our equation of our tangent line. Let's sketch it out and see if it makes sense. We've got a parabola, and we're going over to negative 1 and drawing a tangent line there. We'll use my little ruler tool. So we're just going to create a tangent line there at that point. And we draw that line. And it looks like that works out kind of nicely. That looks like the line negative 2x minus 1. So it looks like our estimate was pretty good.